Hey Jonathan, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to get
Okay,
the chance to talk with you. So I'm
great.
calling in today because I was looking at the Oscars. I was trying to figure out who might win Best Actress, and I was thinking it would be Margot Robbie. Uh, she would definitely be an underdog because Meryl Streep is she's nominated as well. Um, so let's see, Margot Robbie. She's currently 27 years old. She was born on 2/7 or July 2nd, and 27 is a number associated with ritual and the 27 Club. Um, so Margot Robbie equals 125, which got me thinking about Philadelphia and how they just Super Bowl.
Right.
Um, Best Actress equals 125, and March 4th, when you spell it out, equals 125. Um, Best Actress and March 4th both equal 516 in Satanic, which looks like 5/16. Now I saw the number 125 and this number 516, and it made me think of this bridge in Philadelphia, the Walt Whitman Bridge, that was opened on May 16th, 5/16. So from the Oscars on March 4th to the anniversary of this bridge opening, it was 74 days, which is also 2 months and 13 days. Or the kicker, it's 1,776 hours.
Huh.
So
Wow.
uh, Margot Robbie was born in this place called Dalby, Australia, Dalby, and that kind of sounds like the name of the theater where the Oscars are going to be held. It's the Dolby Theater. Okay, so Dalby with an A equals 44 makes you think of Trump, and his infrastructure is his budget that he just passed with the infrastructure plan in it, which is 4.4 trillion dollars. Um, so Dalby, Australia equals 47, 146, and 137. 146 is like 14/6, which is Trump's birthday. Trump equals 47, and 137 is the 35th time, and that actually looks like 13/7 or July 13th. Now, that's interesting to me because when you write out the name of the guy who designed the Walt Whitman Bridge, his name is Osmar Asman. His name equals 131, just like championship, and I think it's Super Bowl as well. Uh, so that guy, he designed Walt Whitman Bridge and the George Washington Bridge, which I thought was interesting. His last name Amman, like Amman Jordan, like the name for ancient Philadelphia. Thought that was
Mm.
interesting. Now, um, what I've been looking at the double W connection. So that's Walt Whitman, and you had a video, Zach, recently about the photograph that spaced that was taken wishing well, um, and so that stood out to me. The double W. Let me see. So let's see. Margot Robbie was on Jimmy Kimmel's show on 12/5, which is the day that picture was taken of wishing well. 125, like Philadelphia and all that other stuff. Let's see, Double W, like Wishing Well, and Margot Robbie, who's also in Wolf of Wall Street, Double W. Let's see, 125, right, Jimmy Kimmel's hosting the Oscars. She was on Jimmy's show, 125. And then Wishing Well, to connect it back to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, that's sung by Terrence Trent D'Arby. Wish me love, a wishing well, to kiss and tell, a wishing well, butterfly tears. There's a lyric in it, Cupid by the hour, Saint Valentine's, sweet lover, and me. So that's connection to love, wishing well, Darby, Dalby, Dolby, all these weird connections. So I just wanted to call and bring that up. I'm going to post all this information on my little blog. Thanks for letting me know.
Hmm.
Amazing. And you know what?
Wow.
As you just said that about your blog, I feel like I forgot to link your blog, which is, do you know if I've linked your blog or not on my page?
I don't think I've seen that.
Promote your blog again one
I,
more
I
time.
do
I got
I
to make sure I
do
have the
look.
address. I got to promote your blog. Your work's so good. What is it?
It's I like Isaac W. like Williams 923, IW923 at blogspot.com.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely link that. I'm sorry I forgot to do that. Your work is so great; it needs to be
no
there.
worries.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Yeah, you know how to connect the dots.
Okay, let's keep it moving and get these other people on. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank you. You take care. Keep up the good work. I like how she keeping the show moving. I also want to promote Derek's blog real quick. Derek at Gematria.com. If you go to Gematria.com, right now he's got too many strikes on his YouTube channel, so he can't make videos, but he's posted his blog. If you go to his blog, he's got some good work on Billy Graham and some more information on the shooting at Stoneman Douglas. Go to Gematria.com. He's got the link to his blog there. He's working right now. So thank you to both of them. Let's go out to New York City.
Hello, Zach.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? I called last week for the first time. I'm the 40 guy, and you do great work. I just wanted to say that off the top. It's amazing, and I just discovered it during the NFL playoffs, right? So I just wanted to I got some more stuff for you. I wanted to just tell you where I'm coming from a little bit. Like, a lot of this stuff about how the world we live in works, I've come across before. But this work that you do, it's like the missing link that binds it all together. And I would have never found it if the NFL. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's a great way that you put it. That's the way it felt to me, because what this work did for me is everything I already saw before I knew Gematria. This gave me the proof, the almost physical evidence to show what I already saw.
Because it's tangible. Right. It's tangible evidence. And but when you mentioned the NFL help you find Zach, that's how I found Zach, through the NFL, because I knew the Super Bowl 50 they were going to rig it for Peyton, and that's how I found Zach. Because a lot of people find Zach through sports.
If they weren't so outlandish, I never would have found it. I'm sitting watching the games, and I'm like, did I just see Mariota throw a pass to himself? And then maybe that was that one time, right? And then this guy tackles the air, and this dude runs for a 61-yard touchdown when the game should have been over. I'm like, okay, so I start digging around, and here I find this, right? And boy, let me tell you. So when I left off, I had a question. I was saying, like, how do you get these shooters to participate? And you said to look into MK Ultra, which I'd already known about, but I didn't know this code. And I got to tell you, this blew my mind here. So I got a few things to share in a request, but first I want to put a bow on the 40 deal I came up with. And I sort of come from an alternative perspective about all this stuff. See, I think that these things aren't mutually exclusive. I think it can be real, and that they throw in hoax elements as well to steer the conversation in another way. And so the reason I believe that these things are real really comes down to the Hollywood stuff, because I know a little bit about that. And I think they want you to think it's like the Wizard of Oz, like it's all this smoke and mirrors and a voice, and you peel it back and it's just this normal guy, right? But in reality, I think it's deeper. I think these people are serious about their rituals. They murder people. All this Time's Up stuff, they all go to the Eyes Wide Shut parties. They all do the Aleister Crowley things, There's no exceptions. If your name is in lights, you have done this stuff. And if you watch that latest Chappelle special on Netflix, he leaks it a little bit. He says something crazy, like, oh, what if the raping wasn't even the worst of it? And you think, well, what could be worse than that? Well, that's what they do. I think that's how they roll, So, but first, I want to put a bow on 40 right quick. Remember I said that 40, I just found it has all this stuff related to school, like spelling, counting, reading. Also, Sandy Hook, Columbine. Looked up some old stuff on Wikipedia. Bath School, never heard of this. Bath School 40. And all of this is in reduced. It's all in the same cipher. It doesn't jump around. And I got the idea. I looked up innocent 40, and it reminded me like, Slaughter of the Innocents. Matthew, I'm talking like I know Matthew 2:16. I looked it up. It was Matthew 2:16. And you guys have both said, like, I've heard the 6:12 reflection. I've heard 2:16 on, Derek did a thing about it. And just when I was about to drift off kind of, I was like, what's that place out there where they all meet in the woods and pretend like they're sacrificed, or maybe they are actually sacrificing somebody. I was like, I'll bet you that comes up 40. Type in Bohemian, it'd be like Bohemian Grove, right. 40, right? So then I'm looking at this Florida shooting, right? Valentine's is 40, but dig this. Remember they kept changing the name, right? Nicholas Jacob Cruz. Nicholas Jacob sums to 40 in that reduction. I'm going to get to the MK Ultra in a bit. So I look at, I start thinking, well, they got to give a signal, right? And so I thought maybe one of them was the lottery, but it's worse. I look up the lottery beforehand in Florida State Lottery. Okay, nothing coming up. I looked at the night of that, the evening lottery of that night, the Florida State Lottery. These are the winning numbers: 40999. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. 40999. I look up 999. It sums to 72. Guess what else sums to 72? Stoneman Douglas, 72. Nicholas Jacob Cruz, 72. And all this I figured out because they flashed by the book on the news. And I was like, why are they flashing this? It's in quotes, by the book. So I look up by the book. It's 40. And it's every single high school or elementary shooting on U.S. soil. You don't have to dig that far. You're going to find 40. And I'm glad you did something like one of the other videos, like you typed in Dealey Plaza. And I was like, oh, that's going to be 40. Because I had mistaken. I didn't realize there was an E before the Y. I'm like, actually, I'm glad that's not in there. That was throwing off my calculation. Moreover, when you put up the thing on Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, see, I can see this stuff now. That pose, that little finger, that's a Masonic pose. She's Eastern Star. You know, you could just see it on TV. You could smell it. You know, there's a Gwen Stefani Christmas special. Before the thing ended, I mean, there was back Christmas, but before they even got to the end, I said, watch. She's going to have one of her eyes covered and some sort of weird hand gesture. Boom, both. Eye covered with a holly pointing to her cheek. You know, it's always something with these people, right? So, I mean, I think that they do a little bit of all. I think in the end of it, I don't even think they care about gun control. Because if it really came down to some crazy gray state, police state thing, they have such technology that, like, your gun will be like a water pistol. I mean, they can make weather. You know about the HARP. You know what I mean? All that stuff they can do. They got germs, chemicals, you know what I mean? Drones. You know, they won't come at you on foot. You know, you've seen these things, Boston Dynamic, these robot dogs. Like, you can't kick them over. They can climb stairs. I mean, how easy is it to put, like, a weapon on those things and then they go crazy, you know? Sure. But anyway, I want to keep it moving just like the girl in Philadelphia. So check this out, man, before I get to MK Ultra. Again, you can't make this stuff up. Learning from your code, you know, I get to thinking about things that are, like, weird to me, right? And I was like, why did Prince say save your prayers for a few days? Like, that's weird. And I was like, you know what? He's the type of guy that would know this code and just die with the secrets. He would know the code and die with the secrets. So remember there was this Instagram post that said, just when you thought you were safe, and the way that Prince spells the U, just the letter U, just when you thought you were safe, reduces to 109. So I started tinkering. You're not going to believe this. These all I took screenshots to make sure I didn't misspell like Dealey Plaza. These are all 109 and reduced in the same cipher. Prince murdered by them. Prince murdered by number. Clive Davis gave the orders. Sacrifice for a Super Bowl. I will be found in elevator. Freemasons are behind it all. They want my archive music. And then I started thinking, like, am I just making myself see this crap? Maybe I'm just like, you know, so I started typing in random stuff like, I like steak and potatoes, you know. I like to drink. Just random stuff of the same, like, it's not coming up, right? The minute I go back to it, this is crazy. I discovered Morse Day. I'm like, damn, that worked. I'm like, all right, let me try another one. Vanity was a ritual sacrifice. I double-checked the spelling. And then I thought of one last kicker. I would die for you, halftime show. All of these sum to 109 and reduced. It just tells me these people are serious about this. Like, they're not, and they always run two things at a time to steer you to the Wizard of Oz conversation. And, you know, you're thinking it's all about, you know, the Wizard of Oz is like, oh, it's Harvey Weinstein, it's just these couple of bad guys. And it's like, y'all all go to those parties, man. Stop lying, Oprah. You've been to those damn parties. You know, I know you have. So that's what they all do. But, all right, let me get to the request. And because I could barely get any, you know, as far in this, because you do the dates, you know all the numbers by heart, you know all this stuff, right? So I look up Project MK Ultra. So we jump to ordinal and reverse ordinal, right? It's going to keep coming up in these, right? The Catcher in the Rye, which is one of those classic books I just never got around to, but I read about what it's about, like, fitting. And that John Lennon shooter and all this stuff. Robert Kennedy, John Lennon shot. This is a little bit of a stretch. I eliminated JF Kennedy, but this is like a script. You won't believe this. I started thinking, what would be the steps? Okay, recruit a shooter. Because I got to thinking, like, well, they're not going to brainwash you and teach you how to shoot a weapon. You know, you got to already be something like that. Alter the mind, right? However they do it to brainwash you. Then I look at this other, I was like, well, how do they get the damn signal out? Broadcast subliminal. I started thinking about like the emergency broadcast system. I was like, you know what? Next time I hear that sound, I'm going to check the news and see if somebody did some weird Chris Benoit stuff, you know? Activate the patsy. All this is 195. Unknowing killer, 195. Zero recollection, 195. Psychosis after. So I think they have a profile. You look these people up, they've all been in and out of some mental institution. That's probably where they, you know, get it implanted. And I'll tell you, there's another bonus one. I get to thinking about that old Three Stooges skit. I typed in Niagara Falls, slowly I turn step by step. Everybody almost knows this. You've seen the Three Stooges. 195 and reverse reduce. So I'm missing something with the trigger word. That's as far as I got, but that's my request. If you could maybe look into that more. But that's all I got today, gentlemen. But this is the Prince thing. I mean, I tried to like make myself not get it, and then it came up.
Sure, yeah, it's very interesting. Frank, keep up the good work. I got 2 callers that I got to get in. Just so you know, for 2 more 40s, I don't know if you said it already, but mathematics is 40, and so is Zionist. And as we know, by the book is referring to the Old Testament. Old Testament 40, just like the United States. So keep it up. Appreciate the call. Brilliant observations. You got the mind for it. You should check out the man who goes by the name Brother Berg, Extra Capsa, because you and him are similar the way you think and you decode. I think you'd really like his work.
Okay, I'll check it out. Look forward to hearing from you again.
All right, take care, man.
Good night.
You too. Take care.
All right, we got 2 more callers we got to get in here. Cleveland, you're up. Uh-oh. Cleveland, something's going on with your phone. Cleveland, I got to mute you because something crazy is going on. You can call back if you want. Let's go out to Brentwood, New York.
Hey, Zach, how are you, buddy?
Doing well. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Listen, look, great idea by that young Decoder. I think it should be called Truth Seeker or Truth Seeker's Manifesto, Truth Seeker's Constitution. Okay? Truth Seeker, I think, I just did by the numbers here, is 151. Truth Seekers, I think, is 170. But the first idea that's got to be there, I'm going to quote Thomas Jefferson. The central bank is the institution that's most deadly and hostile, existing against the principalities in the form of our Constitution. I am an enemy to all banks discounting bills or notes for anything but coin. If the American people allow the private banks to control the issuance of their currency, first by inflation, then deflation, the banks and the corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent that their fathers conquered. So one of the central planks of that new thing that young Decoder was talking about is the monetary system. That's got to be taken back, and that should be right at the top of the list.
Absolutely.
Real quick, Bill Cooper in his book, Behold the Pale Horse, said this, and it was very prophetic because this book was written in the early 90s, even before Columbine. He said the government has encouraged the manufacturing and the importation of military firearms for criminals to use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity, which would lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms. Using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients is a process called Orion that the CIA has calculated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway, and so far it is working perfectly. The middle classes will be begging for the government to do away with the Second Amendment. That was Bill Cooper in his book, Behold the Pale Horse. So,
wow.
I just, very interesting stuff. If you're not familiar with Bill Cooper, he also predicted 9/11 6 weeks before the actual event.
Yeah,
he was also murdered by the code. He was also murdered by the code. Yeah, I have his death in my book. It's very interesting the way he died on November 6th. So.
Yeah, I read a little bit of that book. Yeah, very interesting.
Yes, page 212, gentlemen, behold the pale horse. You know, I don't have any numbers. I'm just starting to get into it myself, but I want to thank you. Just one quick quote before I leave. When a nation mistrusts its citizens with guns, it's sending a clear message. It no longer trusts its citizens because such a government has evil plans. So, folks, we're going to wake up those people to these evil plans, and I want to thank you, fellow truth seekers, for having the spirit of truth. Bless you guys.
Thank you, and right back at you. Great information. That was a very great call. You have a good night, friend. I appreciate it.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for some quick predictive programming. And 13 years ago, in 2005, 50 Cent came out with an album called The Massacre. It was supposed to come out on Valentine's Day of that year, but it got pushed back. And it came out on 3/3/05. So it came out 3/3, like authority, like federal, you know, the authorities.
Secrecy order, right.
The authorities caused, you know, that incident in South Florida. So just, you know, and it was based off of the massacre from 1929.
Right. So the two massacres, 89 years apart, and the word chaos has that gematria 89. Order out of chaos. Great observation.
Yep.
We got another caller here hanging on that's been waiting for a while. Let's let them get the final word, and we got 1 minute left. North Carolina, you got the floor.
Hello, Zach here.
Hello, North Carolina.
Hey, what's going on, bro? I was going to say, doing great work. Don't ever get discouraged. Stop putting your work out there. Everybody needs to hear this stuff. You know, and two big things I want to say. I just found out about your work a week before the Super Bowl. I was a John Eagles fan, and so it really crushed my dreams there. The team finally went to the Super Bowl, and found out it's all fake right before.
No.
But I just want to ask you a quick question. I wanted to know what you thought about the student at Fort Hood, because I don't know if you did any work on it. I haven't got to look up the research yet. But I was actually there on that day, and I know personally two of the guys that got shot. I just wanted to know, like, if you did any research on that or not.
Which event was that?
The Fort Hood shooting.
Oh, the Fort Hood shooting,
Fort
yeah.
Hood.
Oh, absolutely. I believe the first one was November 4th. There was two of them. I have a lot of work on that. We're out of time. Please go to my blog. They're both covered in my book. Next week, I'm going to have an announcement for you guys on that. Thank you for the calls, everyone. You guys have a great night. Thanks for coming on, Jonathan. We'll be back.